football fan and from New Zealand, you're always going to look to support the Kiwi team. But those two teams sort of came and went and just ended in disappointment. So when the Phoenix came along, I just sort of got on board essentially from day one, just watching and then supporting, and it just went from there. And seeing that the Phoenix was the real deal, I think, the way it was set up, the management at the time and everything seemed to be like these guys could last quite a long time, get on board and stay with them. And so it didn't matter that it was from Wellington and I'm from Northland, it was the New Zealand team. So that's where it went, and that's where it started, and this is where it's ended up today. There's a lot of favourite moments. I would say probably for me the Eiffel years and maybe the Krishna years, where we sort of like were sort of perhaps more successful in punching above our weight. I think probably the semi-final against Newcastle with Paul scoring the goal and running the length of the field and things like that. But supporting the club for so long and being sort of slightly more involved with the club, there's been many special moments, and it's not just sort of on the field, but off the field as well, and with the people that you meet. Probably another highlight has been at the first win of the women's team in Canberra. There was only about sort of like 15 of us, but it was such a special moment to be in the crowd and supporting the team that day. It was great. Also, seeing the first goal scored by the women, that was Ava Pritchard against Newcastle. That was another special moment, and they just keep coming. Yeah, and this is all credit to Holly. She just sort of, we're at a game where we've probably been sort of seeing each other at matches, and then she just wandered up one day and we sort of started a conversation. She needed to go to Newcastle for the women's game. I offered her a lift, and sort of as we went up there, I thought, yeah, we decided that we could hang around and sort of watch football together. Next week or the week after, somebody saw us and the commentator said, look, there's a little corner of yellow down there supporting. And so she took it and made up a banner, and it just sort of grew from there. And because we're always the away fans in Australia, people sort of will kind of congregate together. So it's kind of a loose association of people, especially from Wollongong. We're very grateful to the people of Wollongong who came and supported us while the team was over. You probably know that as well. Exactly, yeah. So we kind of grew in perhaps reputation maybe, or people knew of us, and sort of like the core group's probably about 4 or 5 of us, but people sort of drift in and drift out as life allows them to. So yeah, and there's sort of like there's no entry requirement. It's just come and sit by us and have a good time if you can. So yeah, I think that's it. We grew and sort of people knew of us and stuff, but yeah, the numbers remain about the same. That's where, opportunity, because if it's a regular season, we're only going to have access to perhaps a third of the games, because half of the games are going to be at home, and then the others are going to be in places like Perth that we can't really afford to go to. So being in New South Wales and having a lot of the games there, it was like these 2 seasons we need to fill our boots and get to as many games as we can. And so I'd be finding myself going down to Wollongong on a Thursday night and then back on a Sunday and things like that. So I got to know that road quite well. But any opportunity that we could to sort of help the club, we were keen to do that. So you'd probably find footage of us sort of helping put up the advertising signs before and after games and stuff like that. And it might sound like an odious chore to people. It was a way for us just to build our community or communication with the club and sort of just integrate ourselves with the club and just help out wherever we can. We're also, certainly when the women's team were in Wollongong, sort of realising that maybe they could use a little bit of extra attention as well. So we'd sort of try to go out of our way to make them feel sort of liked and supported and things like that. So I think we built a good affinity with the team there as well. I will make a plaque and the player will say thank you, and you don't know whether they appreciate it or it might disappear into a bag and never see the light of day. To see it sort of on the wall at the World Cup, I mean, that just felt so special to actually sort of see that there, and sort of it gives you sort of like, I don't know, smug. You can kind of feel smug, and so just sort of it gives you sort of opportunity to do a bit of blow-assing and talk yourself up sometimes. You can say, oh, did you see that picture there? Oh, I did that. That kind of thing. But it was just a very sort of special thing to say, to show that we support you, and the fact that you see it in a photo, it's kind of like really special, and great feedback. Well, it started off probably a couple of seasons before, and I got myself a laser cutter, and we'd be going to Gosford and there'd be sort of like 7 or 8 people, as away supporters. And I thought, well, there's a couple of things, a couple of reasons I want to do it, and I started making very basic little coins. They're just round coin-shaped things, very, very basic, with just the logo and maybe the name and the date on. And I wanted to give them out as an appreciation for the fact that you're a football person, you're a Kiwi football person, but it was also thanks for coming to support my club, or the club that I support, and here's something to mark that. And it was also sort of something to perhaps encourage people to come back, because maybe if they're sort of thinking, oh, it's raining, maybe I won't go, but if it's raining, I won't go, but that guy might give me another token, and maybe it will sort of sway them to go. And so it just started off as a little token, then I redesigned it a couple of times, and, excuse me, and that's grown to the little match tokens, the shield ones that I make for every game. But then, as ideas struck me for other things I could do, I just took the Phoenix logo, as you've seen, and made it into the name logo. And yeah, really, and then people will ask me to do something else, so I'll have a go at that, and they seem to be quite happy with it, so I'll carry on doing that. So yeah, that's where it sort of started off, and yeah, it's where I am today. Player engagement for me would be very exciting, just to have the players come over and just to shake your hand after a match. It used to happen a lot. It happens with the women's team all the time. The men, I think, not so much reluctant, but sometimes they'll just sort of stop at halfway and clap you, which is, it's okay, but it's nice to have someone come over, like Alex Roof will always come over. So I think a little bit more player engagement would be very exciting. I'm looking forward to just what we can do. I'm looking forward to see what Chiefy Ball looks like. I'm looking forward to supporting him. He's a very approachable character. I like Chiefy Ball. I'm looking forward to actually doing an interview with him in the future. Yeah, Chiefy Ball, I'm looking forward to player engagement. I'm looking to see where we can go with the women's team and how Paul Temple coaches them, see what kind of structure and setup we have. I'm looking forward to seeing which players we bring on board as well. At the time of filming, we don't really know a lot of the squad, so I'm kind of excited to see who we're getting on board. And I'm looking forward to us sort of being successful as well, both in the men's and the women's. I'm kind of pretty confident that with the women's team and Paul, we're not going to be wooden spoons. I think we're going to do a lot better than that.